All right, gentlemen. So here's the plan. It's Halloween week, I should say. And I figured we'd get a little festive. Close to the last month of college football season, and in the spirit of Halloween, I'm going to give you guys 5 teams, and y'all are going to tell me trick or treat as far as playoffs go for these 5 teams. Pick one, give your reasons, tell me why. First team we're starting with is a team that I did not expect to be 8-0, but they are. Boys, BYU looks pretty legit. They've got a road trip to Texas Tech in a few weeks, and we're going to find out how legit they are. But for the sake of the argument, for the sake of the game, BYU is a playoff team. Even if they lose that Texas Tech game, they might end up playing Texas Tech again. Trick or treat.
And just to clarify, trick is
like fake.
So they don't make the college football playoff, or they do make the college football playoff, but we're still like, oh, they're going to get blown out.
They probably won't make it. But you know what? That kind of can be both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like they won't, if they do make it, they won't make it past the first round, or they won't make the playoff.
Okay. Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, just because of the ACL injury to Will Hammond in Texas Tech and being out for the year makes that game winnable now. I'm going to go treat. Yeah. Give me BYU.
Okay. So you think BYU could win a playoff game?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
If matched up correctly.
Okay. Who would you, just to elaborate a little bit on that, who would you take them to beat? Like if you just had to throw out a few teams in the playoff, like you think they could beat Miami, you think they could beat Ohio State, or you think they'd probably have a better chance at beating like Vanderbilt?
There's only 2 teams, and you've mentioned both of them, actually.
Yeah.
Miami and Vanderbilt. I just think Vanderbilt could have a very bad day at the office. And then I also think that Mario Cristobal he's had his Cristobal moment, but like, yeah, they're just not as much as I thought they were a good team.
Chase?
Give me the treat, dude. I actually think they're legit. And you mentioned it with Tech. If with them losing Hammond now, of course, they've got some depth at that quarterback position. I think they're going to be just fine. And I think these are by far the 2 best teams in the Big 12. But if Bachmeier really is as good, then like, man, why not? And it's one of those teams that with them losing, what was their quarterback went to Tulane?
Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah. When Retzlaff left, I was like, oh no, like they're just choosing from the bottom of the barrel. We were wrong about that. But I really thought this team all around was still super talented. They were great last year in a lot of spots and fell a little short, but this team's very talented. They can run the football. Defense has gotten a lot better. And, you get a good win against Utah. I know it's it's the Holy War. So you get that rivalry game. And I was like, all right, they're legit. Texas Tech's going to be a monster. Like that front might be a really bad matchup for what BYU is trying to do. But give me a treat, man. I think there's 3 or 4 teams. I think they could beat either one of the ACC teams that come out, and either Georgia Tech or insert other team. But
yeah, because that race is wide open right now.
Yeah, exactly.
ACC.
I don't really want to like pick out a team because it could be Pitt and Louisville. Who knows, dude? So I think they could be either one of the ACC teams. The Vandy matchup would be just a really good game. I think you could beat. I think you can maybe even beat an Oregon or somebody. I think it's a kind of a wild card. I think out of 10 games they're losing 8, but I don't think anybody's ungettable right now. Maybe except for Ohio State.
I'll go trick, and it's not like something I'm super confident in. I wouldn't say that I would if we were doing locks that I would stamp this as a trick lock. But here's the thing about BYU. They're very dependent on the run. And the Big 12 is just notoriously bad against the run. And Bachmeier's been good throwing the ball. This is not a dig on him, but they are dependent on the run. And I'm kind of afraid when we get to the Texas Tech game that defensive line is going to bear down on this run game, and it's going to throw Bachmeier off of schedule. And these, some of these reads that are open just because they've been able to have such success running the ball won't be there. And BYU also has to play Cincinnati still. And say what you want about Cincinnati, it's at Cincinnati, and they made Ohio State look really bad. Ohio. They made Iowa State look really bad at Cincinnati. I think it's a difficult environment to play at. I mean, that was one of the loudest environments I'd heard all year. I'll go Trick, and I think even if they go 11-1, if they lose the Texas Tech game and they get by Cincinnati, they still make it because you just can't punish the conference champions like we've talked about so much.
Right.
But there's 2 losable games on their schedule, and they still have to play TCU.
That's true.
Don't hear me say that TCU is a better football team than BYU, but if Hoover's right and he's hot, he's one of the biggest momentum swingers in the Big 12.
Yeah.
He's kind of he is a gunslinger. So if you get the 2 interceptions on him, BYU wins that ball game. But if you get one of these that he's delivered this year where it's four touchdowns, maybe just 1 interception, even 0, then I think BYU may have a little bit of difficulty with them. For those reasons, I'll go Trick.
I love it. And I love that you brought up that about Josh Hoover because I think that is very true. I think if Josh Hoover's on and he's hot, TCU is a different team. And they're very, very lethal in the Big 12. But we'll have to see. Sticking with the Big 12, my second team was also from the Big 12, and you brought them up just now, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's undefeated since they lost to Nebraska. Brendan Sorsby looks like he's gotten much better. I know they play BYU in a few weeks. Trick or treat.
Go ahead, Malcolm. We'll keep the same order.
I genuinely don't know. I'm gonna go. I don't want to go treat twice, but just looking at this team, and I actually watched Cincinnati last week. They're very, very, very physical, and the lay of their schedule, I think they're going to blow out Utah.
Oh,
I think they're going to absolutely blow out Utah,
Okay.
and that game for BYU is really going to be for Big 12 supremacy. So, give me treat. This Big 12 is weird, bro.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
this is a hard one.
It did feel like there was only 2 teams there for a minute. Really felt like Texas Tech, and I felt like BYU early on was even getting there. But now it's shaken out to be the typical Big 12. Like, oh yeah, everybody can get everybody, especially at home. Like these are tough places to play. You mentioned it. Cincinnati's a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought we'd have said that, in 2025, but it just matters now. They're a really good team. You go get this one at Utah. I don't feel as confident about them beating somebody in the playoff. And it's going to be a tough one against BYU. I'm going to say Trick because I just don't think they couldn't get that first playoff win. I just don't have as much confidence. I mean, they're physical, but I don't think they're as good of a team as BYU, and I don't think they're as consistent. Dude, I know it was a long time ago, but that loss in Nebraska still holds a weird place in your heart. You're like, I don't know if I can trust that team.
It's fair.
And I think go ahead.
I was going to say you know that version of them exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it came out versus UCF a couple weeks ago. I mean, they were only able to get 20 points. I mean, Sorsby, they don't even really try to throw the ball with him. I mean, he's a good running quarterback. He's a good dual threat, and he keeps you just honest enough. I'm going to go Trick with them. They have a pretty good defense. What I've seen as a whole from Cincinnati this year doesn't feel like a college football playoff team. It feels like they played Kansas, UCF, Oklahoma State, and it does. That's what I'm basing it off. Now they did have a good win against Baylor, and they held Baylor to 20 points, but it was at home. And again, it can't be understated. I think Cincinnati's a really tough environment to play in this year. I think the fan base believes in this team. And if they lose to BYU, they're not going to make it. Yeah. So there's one clear game, and all respect to you for thinking that they're going to blow out Utah. I really don't know. I think it depends on if Dan Pierre plays because he's been hurt. He didn't play last week. So, but if they lose one game, they're done because they can't lose to BYU and still be in the college football playoff. So I'll go Trick.
All right, boys. For the sake of time, I feel like we could go all the way down the list with the Big 12 team. Or, well, not all the way down the list, probably like
there's 4 teams.
Pick out 4 or 5 teams from the Big 12. But I wanted to try to keep this like national.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bounce from conference to conference. Moving to the ACC.
Oh, God.
And we are moving to the team that beat Miami. The Louisville Cardinals. Jeff Brom and Miller Moss. I know their one loss on the season's to Virginia. So they don't control their own destiny as far as making the ACC title game. But watching what I watched from Virginia and Chandler Morris against North Carolina, I have a hard time imagining that team's going to end up flawless in the ACC. So I think that leaves the door open for Louisville to potentially make the ACC title game and thus end up in the playoff. And if they do, Trick or treat.
This is my first trick.
Okay.
Yeah. Louisville is absolutely fraudulent. I'm here to tell you. If you don't believe it, I'm sorry. I'm here to tell you. It is very possible that Louisville loses 3 of their next 5 games. And I'm so serious. Clemson might get them. SMU might get them. Cal might get them. And I know Cal looked horrendous against UNC a couple of weeks ago, where they could not move the ball past the 40s. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Only won that game because of a red zone goal line fumble.
Blunder, yeah.
You do know Cal lost to Virginia Tech this week, right?
I do get that. I do, and I understand that. But
that was an odd spot, though.
It was. I agree.
I think they are just not good, bro. Like, when I look at it, I just think that Miami was such a coaching malpractice from Mario.
No way.
It was more of a quarterback malpractice by his $4 million quarterback who.
Yep.
I mean, if Miami in that game was playing Oregon for the college football playoff, I would have understand some of those shots that he took down the field that ended up being turnovers.
Yeah.
You have no excuse to do that against Louisville. Like, just check it down and throw it away, and don't shoot yourself in the foot constantly. Sorry, keep going.
No, that was it.
We didn't really get to talk about that Miami game and
what a dunce that Carson.
Yeah, that was a. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, and I think always. I mean, I just saw Kentucky put up 34 against Tennessee. Albeit, I think we could put up 14 on Chatt It Up Sports against Tennessee right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No doubt
I just do not think they'll be unscathed. Therefore, they're a trick for sure.
Okay. This is a tough one. I think Brom's such a good coach. I think he's a really good coach. I think Miller Moss has like this weird potential.
I think that's warranted because he had moments at USC last year. I mean, I know he ultimately ended up getting benched for Jade
the first 2 weeks
but...
I was the smartest ball knower in the country. And then that just fell off a getting train. I gotta go. Trying to just think, who can they beat in the playoffs? Who can they beat?
You want me to give you a few teams that I think like a potential matchups? Would you pick Louisville?
Yeah,
to beat?
Give me.
All right, would
3
you
or 4?
Would you take Louisville to beat Notre Dame in a first round playoff game?
That's who I was thinking about.
I think that's like the measuring stick right now for these teams that I've brought up. Is would you take them to beat Notre Dame?
All right, give me treat. I think they could beat them. I don't know how many times out of 10, but I think it could beat them 3 or 4-ish
if they catch them.
Yeah. Because I don't think this is a great Notre Dame team, and Brom schemes it up, and we've seen it from Notre Dame. Like they're fine. They're going to play an ACC schedule.
Okay. Same vein, still on Louisville.
Okay.
Would you take them to beat Georgia or Oregon?
Where's the game being played?
Well, if it's a first round playoff matchup and Louisville ends the season undefeated and Georgia or Oregon don't, it could be played at Louisville. I mean,
if it's at Louisville, they have a chance. If it's either of those other
in
those
Athens
states
or Eugene,
no.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like going to Autzen would be. I don't know. Sanford's a tough place, man. No, they're not winning there, but they can beat them at home. So I'm going to say treat because you get that matchup. You get it there.
Getting a home field advantage playoff is a big deal. It's a big deal.
I promise I'm going to put somebody in the playoffs soon. Trick. All right.
Yeah, you are because
I have to by default. And unfortunately, I think what I said on the instant reaction show, I was like, I think it still rings true. Virginia's got California, Wake Forest, Duke, and Virginia Tech left.
Oh, gosh.
So Louisville doesn't control their own destiny, and that's Virginia's next 4 opponents or last 4 opponents. And I'll be honest, I watched a little bit of the Boston College game this week, and I didn't exactly see a team that screamed college football playoff contender. They just didn't. Boston College was within 1 score in the 3rd quarter, and Louisville's got a guy. I'm forgetting his name. I can pull it up. It's their running back, Brown. Oh, goodness. Isaac Brown.
Yeah.
Ran for 200 yards in that game. Some big playability there. But this team, when they weren't doing that against Boston College, looked really, really, really not good. So,
yeah.
For the sake of the fact that they don't control their own destiny, again, you brought up the point. I think Virginia could probably pretty easily go 8-4.
Sure.
Like they definitely could. But the quality of teams that they have left to play, Duke would be the hardest one left, which is just
it's just Darian Mensah. It's that D for that logo stands for Darian Mensah.
Yeah, and
that's all Duke is.
Yeah, they are, and it leans me towards Trick. sadly. I do not think that they could beat Notre Dame. In no world would they beat Notre Dame. I would take Notre Dame minus 10.5 in that game.
Oh my God.
I'd line it. I'm serious. Jeff Brom is a good coach, but I don't think that they're on that level yet.
I think Notre Dame's corners could eat Miller Moss alive, especially if Chris Bell's out.
Yeah,
because he's had some.
Chris Bell is the only thing standing between them, and I get what you're saying about Moss because I fall for it too because I kind of saw him in Louisville.
There's the game. There's always the game.
And I was like, man, he looks really good, and then he doesn't, and then
you just never know. That's the thing. It's like it's one of those things like you say treat, and it's because you have to hope that he gets the game. Like he has one of the,
but his highs aren't even as high as a guy like Josh Hoover. That we just brought him up. Miller Moss, Josh Hoover's highs are right here. Mm-hmm. Miller Moss is probably somewhere about right here.
Yeah, but Josh Hoover also doesn't have that run game.
No,
and I just don't.
That's true. That's a good point.
I think that's the part of it too. And at Louisville, and it's one of those things like these road dogs. It's just I don't know.
Louisville's defense is pretty good, though. I'll give them that. I've been impressed of what I've seen. They force turnovers, which is
good front line.
Like they're not like a beat you by submission where they hold you in between the sticks, but they force turnovers and they've been consistent about that.
Don't break and very opportunistic.
Very
opportunistic. They've got some good corners out there.
All right, boys. We talked about a team that doesn't control their own destiny in the ACC. So now I'm going to give you a team that does. Brent Key and Georgia Tech. Trick or treat.
This is by far
it's so hard
for me. I was literally looking at this as we speak. This is the biggest treat that I think you can provide.
Okay.
I think that
so this is a king size.
This is a king size.
King
size Kit Kat bar.
That's a good. That's a bar.
I do not think, like truly, if something happens this weekend, and Florida somehow beats Georgia, Georgia is now in limbo when it comes to missing the college football playoff.
Sure.
Because they get GT and they get GT, I want to say at home.
I want to say it's that's the big thing. It they completely took Georgia Tech's home field advantage out of the equation. Like, because that'll be, you see these college football games at these NFL states, it's not the same. It won't even be close.
It wouldn't be the same as that game was at Bobby Dodd at 7:30 on Friday. Like it's in Mercedes-Benz.
Be fun.
That changes things, but I still think Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up, but I saw this tweet and I'm gonna say it. Haynes King is doing what people think Diego Pavi is doing.
Oh God.
That's what the streets told me. That's what the streets just said to me. I'm not confirming, I'm not denying the allegations. I am just telling you what the lore in the college football world is today.
That might be one of my favorite statements ever.
Thank you. I rest my case. I have nothing else to say. Ramblin' Wreck, Georgia Tech.
I love them. I picked them to go to the ACC title because I thought their schedule was a cakewalk.
Do you need me to give you some hypothetical playoff matchups with Georgia Tech?
No. I think they can maybe beat some people. I think they're really good enough to get to a ACC championship game, but I don't think they could beat anybody. I mean, you got to think like their wins against Wake took an overtime. Like there's, I love them, and I love Haynes King, and I think he's gonna just stat stuff his way to at least being, like a 7th guy or 8th guy on a Heisman. I mean, he had his best passing week of the year last week.
3 for 300 passing yards.
That's right. He looked awesome. But, dude, that Duke game was really close. Duke's terrible. Wake, none of these wins are convincing. And I know, like, the Clemson win at the time, I was like, that's a huge win. Clemson sucks. Big fat donkey dick. And so I just don't know if I can get there. So I just can't. I gotta go trick, man. They can maybe get there because they might get a Pitt matchup and they can beat them again, but I don't know. Like,
well, they could. I mean, if they're 11-1 ACC champions, I don't think it'd be hard for them to get a first round bye, especially if the Big Ten shakes out the way that we think it's going to, with undefeated Indiana, undefeated Ohio State, 1-loss Oregon. Like, there's probably 3 of your top 4 seeds, maybe potentially. Yeah. I mean, you'll have to see what happens with the SEC, but it'd be hard for them to get a first round bye.
It'd be very hard. And
unless they went 12-0 and won the ACC. Then I think they could. If they beat Georgia.
Well, do they play Pitt? I believe they play Pitt.
Second to last game.
So you cancel out Pitt, you might get Louisville
or Virginia.
Because
Virginia's got the tiebreaker over Louisville right now.
But like, say both those teams lose again one more time and you get the Virginia matchup, and like, I don't think Virginia's that good. I'm sorry if you only beat Carolina by 1 point. I can't give you anything. I can't give you any love.
Yeah, it's kind of – I'm with you there with Virginia because we talked about it on the Instant Reaction show. It's like it's easy to assume, but we also got to remember that the margin between these teams in the ACC is not that far. So to assume like on a random Saturday night Virginia loses to like Pitt or Cal is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I thought one of my favorite bets of the weekend was the spread against Syracuse, but that's because Syracuse is so terrible. Yeah. This was the only
losing
time.
Steve Angeli was.
And you mentioned, one of you guys mentioned, I think it was you, Drew, that was talking about they have zero pull away power, and I don't think
Georgia Tech doesn't.
Yeah, you cannot do that in the college football playoff. You can't if you can't pull away by 2 point, like anything. If you can't pull away by 2 scores, you're not going to have a chance to win that in any of those games. I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
This will be my first treat, and I'll keep it really simple because I just looked at the time. We need to speed up. I think this Georgia Tech team about plays to the level of their opponent every week unless they're playing a dumpster fire like Syracuse. Like, no offense, Syracuse, but that's just kind of how their season is shaked out. It's not a dig on the program. That's just how it like they lost Steve Angeli. They got murdered by the draft and the transfer portal. Like they brought in a bunch of new weapons trying to take swings on them, especially on the offensive line. Didn't work out. I think Georgia Tech is going to be able to make the college football playoff. I think they will lose to Georgia. But an 11-1 Georgia Tech team, I think, still gets in even with an at-large bid, even if they I don't know what the tiebreakers look like, but even if they somehow get knocked out of the ACC championship, I think they still get in. I'll go treat to make it. They would be a really fun problem for a team like Miami or Oregon, where I just think the strength of this team is taking teams off schedule. Like they just continue to muck the game up. And now if you kind of like stop if you kind of stop that early in the game, then they're going to get blown out. Like but I think they could be a really big problem for a team that is. I think they could even be a problem for a team like Indiana. Not that they would beat Indiana per se, but I think that the style that they play is when they play a lesser opponent, they kind of just play a little bit down to them, and they know that they're good enough to get past them. And then when they play a bigger opponent, though, they know exactly what they're doing. I think Brent Key knows exactly what he's doing with this team. So I'll go treat. Man, that tweet that Malcolm just said out loud just
got him.
Threw you for a loop.
Got him.
It's
2 turned.
No,
that was the hat he had on. Diego Pavia. You're 26, brother. Enjoy it.
He is 26.
Enterprise rental car.
I know it's calling. Well, not for him. He'll be in national commercials forever.
He'll be
all right. But
I'm just jealous.
Yeah.
Haynes King, second in the country in rushing touchdowns.
All right, boys. So we've wrapped up the Big 12. We wrapped up the ACC. I did say I wanted to keep this national, so we're moving on to another conference.
Great.
This head coach, his name has been mentioned in what was a surprising firing from LSU, Brian Kelly being gone. Dan Lanning in Oregon. You talked about it pre-show, Drew.
Oh.
You wanted to give a take on this.
Not really a take. I just a question.
Okay.
Yeah, just a question.
That's fair. I just wanted to trick or treat the Oregon Ducks.
Oh, I'm going?
Yeah, that's all you do.
Okay.
They're not going to cancel me.
Malcolm's already taking his blows. We're going to let you talk, and then we're going to.
Are we sure Oregon's good? All right. That's the question that needs to be asked here. Are we sure that this version of Oregon is good? Because if you stack them up on top of each other, if you look at what we have to gauge Oregon's success this year or what they possibly could be down the road in the Big Ten Championship or in the college football playoff, it doesn't really stack up to where they're ranked. So they're ranked, what are they now, 6? They're 6?
Yeah, 6th.
So they're 6th right now. So Oregon's beat Penn State. That's about it. They got beat by Indiana on their home field.
Yeah, bad.
Which everybody, yeah, it was bad. If Mendoza doesn't throw that pick six, that game is a lot worse.
Yeah.
It's a lot worse.
Yeah.
I just think the question needs to be asked: is Oregon that good, or
is their schedule that bad?
Well, are we giving the respect that Dan Lanning has sort of earned? Because what big game has Dan Lanning won? What important game in his run at Oregon has Dan Lanning won that ultimately contributed to his team making a deep playoff run? Because it wasn't last year, and it wasn't the Michael Penix year because he lost twice.
He was 0-2 against DeBoer and Michael Penix in the Pac-12 title game and the regular season.
And
but he did beat Ohio State at home.
Yeah, they beat that.
Yeah.
That is his biggest win at Oregon.
Sure.
Is beating Ohio State at home last year.
But then he got
he got
railroaded in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I still think, personally, I would take Treat for Oregon because they're going to make it. And I have belief in Dan Lanning that he's going to figure it out. I don't think he is. I respect Franklin as well, but I don't think he's James Franklin. But the question needs to be asked, are we just giving them undue respect? I think there's a case for that.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point to say how much of Oregon is being propped up by their schedule because it's not good.
And I think a lot of the country is kind of where I'm at. I think we all feel that they broke Penn State. I think Penn State's a much better football team than they've produced. And
they were a much better,
They were a much better football team, and they have so much talent. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. On paper, you even said it. On paper, this team should be, no doubt, number one, bingo, bango. But it was Penn State and it's James Franklin. And they're like, well, we can't freaking win. And then they didn't. They sold their soul, what felt like, for that win. And then they didn't get it. They're like, we're just doing the same thing again. Let's quit on the season. And they did. Now Aller's hurt, and just the season from hell, dude. It really is for them. And here we are. That job, 3 of the biggest jobs in the country are now open. And it started with them.
They called me a fat Teddy Graham that's built like a Build-A-Bear on TikTok comments.
You got your get back, though.
They
did say that.
Like, buddy, somebody said that my head was shaped. Somebody said that my head was shaped like a milk dud that hasn't been touched in 6 months on the TikTok comments. Like, bro, I'm not saying anything bad about Oregon. I think Dan Lanning is the best coach in college football post Nick Saban. I truly think that Dante Moore deserves to be in New York and honestly deserves to be the first overall pick.
Okay.
By the Cleveland Browns.
Here, I just have a few questions for you.
Yeah, man.
Just a few questions.
Yeah.
And you don't have to elaborate. Just give me straight answers. If Oregon was to play these 3 teams in the playoff, who are you taking to win?
Okay, go.
Texas A&M.
I'm taking Texas A&M. Please, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm just being objective. I'm doing my job.
Alabama.
I'm taking Alabama right now.
Ohio State.
I'm definitely smelling the roses again. I'm taking Ohio State. I don't want them to come at me.
I understand.
The way that they did last year. Because it was bad. It was bad. And I did get my get back because I smelled the roses and Jeremiah Smith absolutely doing what he had to do. But yeah, you got the Fighting Dan Lannings. They do not play. Okay. So I'll just shut my mouth. Quack, duck, quack. Is that what they say, bro? What is that
like
little chant?
They sing shout?
For sure, bro.
Yeah,
I'm with y'all. Oregon till I die.
Yeah.
Big O.
All right, boys. So I know we're pushing up on time here, but there was a surprise team that got thrown into this that was not originally planned, and that was Georgia Tech. My fifth and what was supposed to be my 5th and final team, and is actually my 6th team, is a team that's very near and dear to my heart. And that is the Georgia Bulldogs. Trick or treat.
I mean, man, Kirby Smart led teams. They're always filled with speeding tickets and candy bars. So I'm gonna go treat. I think that Kirby's just not gonna go out like this. And college football is a better place whenever the Georgia Bulldogs are full go. And I think they're at full go. And I think we'll see that in just a few days. So give me treat.
Yeah, I got to go treat. I mean, I wouldn't favor them against everybody in the college football playoff. Like if we were to go neutral site, we're going to do the power ratings here, that kind of style, Pate world. Then sure, I think Georgia's going to beat a lot of people on a neutral field. Do I think they are better than Ohio State, Indiana right now? No. But I think they could beat anybody outside of those two. More times than not. Like if I was going to keep in the same stratosphere of how many games out of 10 they're going to win, they're going to beat a lot of they're going to beat the rest of the 9 other teams more times than not. You're doing it.
Do it.
No, I can't. I can't because I look at the rest of their schedule, and if they get past Florida, I think they make it to the college football playoff. They can afford one loss, and they have that loss would have to come against Mississippi State at home versus Texas, Charlotte, or the neutral field, really not neutral field.
Neutral field.
Yeah, Atlanta or Mercedes-Benz. So I'll go treat. I really want to see this Georgia team play like somebody outside the SEC this year, which I know you can't do that because conference games, but like I kind of want to see them play somebody. I really wish they had scheduled a out of conference game against a decent opponent, maybe like akin to what LSU's been doing the past few years.
Yeah, I think
there's so many unanswered. I don't know. I have no idea because I mean Gunner. Poor Chase, dude. Every time Gunner does anything, it's just
Chase.
The video just keeps going. Like it goes to the moon.
Listen, you're not alone. Okay, you're in that group with Paul Feinbaum. Like you're not the only one that was.
Sometimes you swing and you miss.
It happens.
Yeah.
Listen, dude,
sometimes they're Sam Levitt. Sometimes they're Gunner Stockton.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I hate to say this. I don't think it's like Gunner just keeps like he's pretty, not mid, but he's pretty average, and then he hits like humongous home runs.
Yeah,
like he's just a solid 265 hitter, but he hits a bomb in clutch time.
Yeah,
and it's like that makes him an even 15 times better player. Like that was the thing is like the Tennessee game, like he was fine, and then he had a really good second half, and then he hit the one big play. It was like solid. Yeah. Thought a lot of his stuff was just really well timed play calling, stuff like that. He hits guys in stride. Like don't get me wrong, and then all of a sudden it's just like here's one big throw to just exclamation point. I don't feel like he is, Marcel Reed, but I do think he's so solid and he's been so clutch. Yeah. So I
think their roster is good enough. They're young, like you've said a million times. They're young, but they're still Georgia,
and they still have win ball games.
Yeah, they still have Kirby Smart,
Fair.
Their game to drop that would have been their stupid game that would have put them in like panic mode would have been the Auburn game, and they still got out of there. And that's one thing that I kind of measured college football playoff teams every year about which games that they should have lost that they didn't, and it's just the nature of the SEC. So you look at a game like Texas A&M Arkansas last week.
Yeah,
that was Texas A&M's game to lose. My Commodores, they probably should have lost the Missouri game this week. They didn't.
Yeah,
and Georgia didn't lose the Auburn game.
Yeah.
And by that, and with the opponents they got left, put them in there.
I'm really interested to see what we get from Florida coming up.
Same.
So
the big thing too is with you guys is you went out and beat Ole Miss when a game you probably shouldn't have won. To be honest, it didn't feel like you just couldn't stop them.
Yeah,
it was Ole Miss's day. That was going to be their big game. They're going to get the win over Georgia. W. But Ole Miss did the same thing against Oklahoma, so it's like. You see Ole Miss can do that against other teams on the road. So that even gave me even more love for Georgia. It's like, yes, I know it happened against Alabama, but it's like that's just the Alabama thing you got going on right now. Yeah. You did it against Tennessee. You did it against Auburn. You did it against Ole Miss. Like, I don't care how you win, dog. When you're winning like that, and you're getting everybody's best each week. Like it's not Saban fully, but it's very similar. Like you're just getting everybody's best week, and you're the big dog target. So
fair enough. Well, boys, this was fun.
Yeah,
I feel like we could have done. I had like 15 teams in mind originally, and I had to just kind of trim the list down.
Sure. Welcome to 2025.
So yeah, it was fun. Follow Chatt It Up Sports on every platform. Thanks for watching.
Peace.